Hi everybody, it is Marie Nugent. My business is called Time to Sparkle and Shine, and I'm here doing a series of Instagram lives with my friend Felicia, and we are doing reflexology points on how it is that we can work with our body. And I think she is going to be coming on here now. Let's see. Invite. Yes. Let's see how that works out. Yeah, so we've done a whole series about calmness, back pain, headaches. Today we're working with the kidneys and all the emotions that come with that. And we're going to finish next week with the eyes, and that will be before Christmas time. And after Christmas, then we will be doing a whole series where we'll be working through the chakras. So Felicia goes through the points, the reflexology points, and goes through what the emotions are behind those points. And I usually do then a small sequence at the end of the sequence of tapping, where we can work on emotional techniques in releasing through those just tapping on those calm points, which will bring us back into alignment. And we're probably coming into one of the most emotional times of the year, and because we have a picture perfect view of what it is that we that we want Christmas to feel like. And when it doesn't, or when our picture changes, we can actually be very challenged by that, and it can bring up an awful lot of emotions within us that we have to deal with. And that's why, believe it or not, that it is actually a great time to let's see what is. And that's why, believe it or not, with everything that's going on, it is a great time of the year to work with somebody, because what it can do is all the emotions, because they tend to be condensed into an episode or a time of year, then that it's actually a great time to it can be to work on them. And what that does is it actually gets them out of the way, so that when Christmas comes around, that basically you're in a great place to deal with them. Oh my God, she's there and she's eating her brownies. I'm on the wrong side. I'm in the wrong country to start with, so I am.
Just feed it to you one moment.
Aren't you very good? How are you?
I'm really good, actually. I had a very good day, actually, at networking.
Great.
I've been practicing my EFT, because I've just been into my Instagram to let people know I'm still alive, because I haven't heard from me for a week. And I just sort of gave a quick catch up before coming on to say to people that
Yes.
My week has been quite a healing crisis week.
Yeah.
Whereby the EFT and the facial reflexology has really gone down very deep into some very deep crevices and highlighted lots of emotions that I would trapped inside me. And they have been trapped since childhood, and probably before that, actually, in past lives. And come the weekend, I was in really scare mode, because obviously the universe has given me the option to heal myself. And by taking, I see it's in the if you were to see in reality terms, it's like having the rug pulled from underneath you, without you even having an inkling of what they're going to do. They just take it away overnight, and you think, oh my God, where's my work coming from? What's happening? I've got no money coming in. Oh, panic, panic, panic.
Yeah.
So I've been doing EFT, and it's gone through all of the chakras. It's taken me on a journey through my heart center, my soul, my spirit, my past lives, it has literally gone through and washed. I feel like an internal washing machine has gone on. And of course, what happens when you start doing that? It has to come out.
Yeah.
And of course, I went into panic mode and spoke to somebody coming back today. And I said to her about it. And I don't usually speak about this because I keep thinking this is private. People don't want to know about, you know, all my bits. She said, no, I think you need to voice this because there's going to be lots of people out there going to be going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And I, for the first time in many years, I cleared my debt from my financial debt many moons ago. And then I went into debt over the weekend, and I was back as if I was back years ago, with the fear, the terror, the what do I do now? I've got no money for food. What do I do? Okay, I've got a husband, but I don't want to burden him with it because I'm a responsible person running a business myself. Why isn't it not happening for me? So I went into really deep, I wouldn't say depression as such, but I would say it was like get down a rabbit hole, and I sobbed my eyes out, and I just sort of shouted to the universe and my guides and the angels, and I said, I didn't swear, by the way, I did keep that very, very clean, and I said to them, what the are you doing to me? Because I wasn't able to go out the house. Every time I went to open the dormery, I had to shut the door, because if I went outside to get in the car to drive, I knew I didn't have the money to pay for my food. It was that. It was just like struck by freeze mode. So I then came upstairs, and I just literally, like a child, I just lay there in the fetal position, curled up, cried and sobbed my heart out, and it felt as though the actual tears were coming from my root chakra and my feet. And I was being guided, all of the tapping I've been doing, releasing myself from lack of poverty consciousness, from my life, my father and mother's and ancestral lines were all being cleared. Tapping, all clearing out. And it had to come out. So I was crying, not only for me, but for my ancestors and my parents and their parents and their parents. It went back. It was very traumatic. And then all of a sudden, I got this message, EFT. Get your EFT in. And I've learned a very good EFT. I think I've sent it to you, Marie. And this lady used to follow years ago, and she was going through this particular sequence. Every time you're feeling fear for financial difficulties or anything that you think you don't have, but in actual fact you do because you are in abundance, she takes you through a sequence where you say the negative first, I do not have, and then you replace it with, oh, thank God I'm rich. When you go through the whole thing, by the time you've finished, what you started off with fearing fear of completely has gone. You're elated, you're excited, you're anticipating, you're curious, you're alive, you're buzzing, and you just have this peaceful energy going all the way around you. And as soon as that came to me, I stood up, dried my face, and got the car keys, drove to the shops, knowing full well, in reality, I didn't have it, but I do know I'm abundant, and therefore the universe was going to give me exactly what I'm asking for. So as I was driving, I said, thank God I'm rich, because I can have anything I'm asking for. And I did a money story with the EFT tapping on my kidney point. And also facial reflexology, because obviously I could do this point quite easy when I'm driving. And then as I was doing that, it was a case, as I was doing that, I felt uplifted, I felt joy, bliss, happiness, and it was bringing back into balance of abundance. And by the time I got to the shops, parked the car, I'd say high as a kite, but it was on joy. Absolute joy. And as I gave my card over to pay for my shopping, I was saying in my head, thank God I'm rich. I felt absolutely blessed and grateful. And the universe said, we're going to pay that back for you. And I heard it as though it was somebody talking to me in the back of my head.
Yeah.
I got home, picked up my emails, and lo and behold, the universe actually carried out what it said. I then had a client get in touch with me for not only a reading, but also they wanted me to do a crystal healing on them.
Lovely. And you know, it's interesting because it's something as we women are facing when that whole fear thing that you went through, you know, that rug pulled out from underneath you. I mean, I went through it when I was going through, you know, when we separated initially, the whole shock of what it was that was happening and was I going to be okay, and, you know, what was happening in the whole fear-based thing. And funnily enough, it was an issue that came up recently, and exactly the same thing. I was right back in the fear that I thought I had dealt with. Yeah. So it's like coming up in layers and layers, and for women in particular, freeing us from that lack, you know, that whole thing of being dependent, that we're not in an abundant universe. One thing that came to me was that somebody told that because I had a session, no more than yourself, I had a session with somebody, and she brought in the vortex, and I thought, because it was a long time since I'd actually heard that. And the vortex is basically an energy that surrounds us, that basically has every one of our dreams, you know, all the things that we have, that we've put out there to the universe that we're not connecting with. But when you bring yourself back into and it's literally just by breathing, you know, bring yourself back into the center where you're taking yourself out of your head, and you allow yourself to be rich. You allow yourself. And I think because we don't have a history of feeling rich, so we don't have ancestors that were kings or queens or you know, that were millionaires or anything like that. So in a lot of ways, what we're doing is we're tapping into that so that we can harness that energy, that we can balance out that you know, the whole thing about that 1% that own all the wealth. You know, we live in an abundant universe. So it's that whole thing of allowing ourselves to tap into that so that we can have some of it. And if we can have it, then we can just share with everybody else of what it is, you know, what it is that they can do to allow themselves. And it's about allowing yourself to feel, and also to know that you're probably the first one that's going to do it. So in a way, you're inventing the wheel. So you are, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a sense of excitement about that, but there's also that whole thing of the unknown and how, because, you know, what works for one doesn't work for somebody else. But we do have to get back to that core issue of how, you know, the magnificent souls that we are meant to be rich. And not just rich lives, but we are meant to be abundant. We're meant to be showing others how it is that you can do it. And do it while having fun. You know, do it in a job that you enjoy doing it when you're making a difference in people's lives. Just go for it, you know, which is why we pick kidneys today as our emotional freedom techniques, isn't it? So yeah. Tell us about kidneys, Felicia.
Right, in the Chinese medicine, kidneys are actually related to fear, because obviously the back, if you think about it, back problems, which we've done previously, your back into your bladder meridian. The bladder and the kidneys are linked as partners together, and it's all about filtration. It's about letting go and be able to attain your body at maximum. So you're actually keeping hold of the good energies and letting go of the energies you no longer serve you anymore, but you're cleaning your body out at the same time. If you are in fear of something, usually attributes that there's certain colors that you will wear. For instance, you will wear a lot of black and blue if you've got any anomalies in those two meridians. I could do this for ages, but I'm going to really narrow it down. But the kidneys are all about fear. Now, we know what's happening in the world outside at the moment, although that does have it can have an influence on our energy fields, because obviously it's the unity consciousness that's being tapped into by an energy which is to stop us from actually heightening our energies and allowing us to, you know, instead of going up, they want us to come down to their level. Well, that's not going to happen because the ascension's already started and they cannot stop it. Yeah. So what's happening is, light workers like myself, I'm on my own here, and I have other people and my friends who are the same. when you are going through your own healing crisis, what will happen is you go through layers. And if you know you're not prepared to go through the healing process, you're not actually following your true soul path, because your soul is calling you to pay attention and do the cleansing work. Because for every time you wish to go up, you have to cleanse the previous layer. Kidneys are very, very good for that, because obviously they're clearing out the dross and they're detoxifying your body. Hence why we're obviously doing it today, because obviously I was preparing myself for doing this, obviously from the weekend to now.
Yeah.
They affect really and truly the mid part of your body. So there will be, when you work on this particular area for all the points, they are working with your coccyx, they're working with your root chakra, your sacral chakra. They also touch a bit onto your midline, which is your mid-thoracic area. I mean, Marie and I know about that, because obviously we know about the anatomy physiology, but it's under your bra line, for instance, and it will go down all the way down to your hips and thighs. And these points here will cleanse out and teach your body to detoxify anything that is similarities to pain in any joints, pain in any too much going up here. It means to say that you've got a problem. It's too much chi up here and not enough going down. Also, it affects your ears. Now, your ears are one of your precursors if you've got problems in your kidneys. And I'm finding in my clients and also my students, this is appearing a lot, because if you're not listening properly and not able to listen properly, because you've got itching ear, no, scratching ear, you've got itching ear, no, you've got itchy ears, you've got an infection in there, you've got all sorts of problems, even for children, because the universe is trying to get hold of you. They're trying to get hold of you by actually giving you messages, but you don't necessarily switch sufficiently enough to understand the messages. Working with these, I've worked with this for many, many years now, facial reflexology. How I was taught was not from the spiritual side. This is the therapy side. But I've taken it 1 or 2 steps further up. And I've now started working with it on the spiritual side and working with my soul. And they're saying these points, because there's over 600 points on your face, plus more, actually there are more, because you've got the mama points as well, which obviously go into the Indian side. But on the whole, these facial reflexology points for acupressure cover so many issues within your physical self. And therefore, they start clearing you out. They start really dusting your, not only your kidneys and your adrenals, but they also give you the opportunity from inside to heighten your level of light. Because if you dim your light because your kidneys are not working, and the kidneys and the bladder are not filtrating sufficiently enough, what will happen is, like the colon, which affects the colon as well, you will have backup of toxins back into the body. And we know, Maria and I already know what happens when that happens, because that means to say you're not, I mean, this will also clear constipation, but it's obviously not a 5-minute wonder. You have to work with these points on a regular basis, like EFT. If you do that, you have to be prepared for the healing crisis that may occur. Because the healing crisis, as I know, as a therapist and also a spiritual mentor, I do know that is the cleansing. That is the cleansing for you to allow the old energies to be flushed out, remove themselves, for the new to come in. And you can't have one without the other. You know, most people say, can I just have the new coming in? I said, well, you've got to make space first. You have to let go. So these points here, I mean, all the other points have their own way of benefits, but the kidneys especially. And
so would we... Sorry. No. Is it the same sequence as before? Then you start with the calm points, which is basically to calm your body down and bring it back into alignment, and then work on the kidney points. And I'm sure with a lot of these, they'll overlap anyway. You know, the points are going to overlap. I have my hair pushed back. My face is ready.
Well, we're going to do something new. I'm going to do something new today, actually, because I've been guided. And we're going to start off with what we call we rub your hands together. Get some friction and also some energies going. And then what you do is you put your fingers on the top on your chin. And then what you're going to do is gently sweep up over the top of the head over the ears and back down. And you do that 3 times. And what this is actually like going through a massage, if you're going to do a back massage, for instance. So you call it efforage. So you're actually massaging and getting your body nice and calm and relaxed before you do the relaxation point.
And it's a great thing to do, is actually to be doing your breath in and breath out as you're doing this as well, because it also is bringing in, you know, obviously your lungs and your heart, and yeah, so it's just totally calming your body down. Okay, next step.
So we're going to do the relaxation points.
Yep. Okay.
As I've said before, I know this off by heart for the amount of times I've been doing this. This is the gallbladder point on the right.
Yeah.
And it's also very good for regenerating energy into the brain.
Yeah.
Now, each time you do a particular acupressure point for facial reflexology, it's always done in 12s or 15.
Yeah.
So you do that. After a while, because I'm used to doing it, I automatically know when to stop. When you do it so often.
Yeah.
And this is the spleen point on the left. And you go to that point there, which is shoulders. And it's very good for the optical nerve. So if you've got problems with any eye issues, it's very good for dry eyes. It's very good for eyes which are feeling tired and lethargic, and you know, you really feel as though you want to close your eyelids and stay awake. This is excellent. Usually when you fall asleep, well, at night time, sometimes when you have a problem sleeping and you find that you are not able to go to sleep and you're counting sheep, as they used to say, but I don't count sheep. I actually now do and I have done for many years, is this particular sequence of relaxation. After you've got to the 3rd sequence of it, you actually wake up the following morning not fully finishing the sequence.
Okay.
Because you've fallen asleep.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's the object of doing it.
Yeah.
Which is good. No, but what this also does, it calms the body, puts it into what we call equilibrium, into balance. So it's balancing it yin yang together and bringing relaxation and calm all the way over the body, which is great. Now we go into the kidneys. Now we've done some of these points before, but some of them are new, but we'll go through the ones we know. Right, so the first one is 17, but I'll say the number because obviously that's related to the actual acupressure point. And it's going to be on the top lip. You sweep across and you locate it. So it's about there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you're going to do is you're going to do downward movements, because that is the adrenal glands, colon, kidneys, thighs, hips, and this particular point is at anti-inflammatory point. So you're giving your body a really good cleanse, and you're giving the message over that this is anti-inflammatory. Anything that's inflamed in the body, this is an excellent point to use.
That's great, because I must say my right hip has been at me for the last few days, so this would be a great one for that.
Because you're clearing out any calcium deposits and also uric acid.
Great.
In the body.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got uric problems in the body and it stayed in the joints, for instance, it can be really, really painful. This particular point actually flushes it out sensibly and calmly.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is a point really and truly on that point, just above 17.
Yeah.
This point here is knees, thighs again. Very good if you've got piles. And it's very good for the middle finger. I'm not swearing, but I'll do it this way around. It's the middle finger.
Yeah.
And the middle finger in Chinese medicine is called the pericardium.
Ah, okay. So the heart. It's a lining in the heart. Yeah.
The heart muscle.
Yeah.
It's also to do with the can't think of it now. Oh yes, hang on, read my notes here. Antibiotic effect.
Okay.
17 is anti-inflammatory. This also spruces up your antibiotic top-ups,
Okay.
in other words.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
So it's boosting your immune system as well.
Yeah, and again, it helps to generate what we call peristalsis. Yeah, that's one thing. Peristalsis in your colon. It's starting to do like a washing machine around your colon.
Yeah,
but it's not doing it aggressively like a fibre. It's actually doing it gently, so it cleanses all of your all of that area out.
And now, that makes sense. Yeah, because peristalsis is the action that the colon takes as it's pushing the food along gently. So enhancing on that, and of course that's where the constipation comes in, because with fear it slows down your digestive system, and that's why you can get constipation. Yeah. Sorry, Felicia. Go on.
No. The next one is what we call, it's not on the hairline. We come down slowly and locate it. It's sort of it's in front of the other one that we do for relaxation. Yeah. And you do that diagonally. So you're going towards, you're aiming towards the midline of your hairline.
Gotcha. Oh, that feels, I can actually feel that point. It's one of the sore points.
That is related to, again, kidneys, lumbar, and also index finger. Index finger is related to, guess what, the large intestine. Again, it's related. It's clearing out your kidneys and regulating your kidneys, but it's also clearing out your large intestine. And the large intestine is related to your lungs, so clearing out your lungs at the same time. Yeah. And if you've got a problem with neuralgia, for instance, this is an excellent point here.
For what?
If you've got problems with neuralgia.
Oh, neuralgia. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next point is another new point. I think we've done this in another set actually, and it's from the midline, and you come down slightly, so you're on the bony part of your forehead, and again you go up and down. I
think that one came up with back, which would make sense. That's because it's
This is the spinal column. So what this does, it refreshes all of the messages down your spinal column. Again, it's related to your colon. You can see a relative pattern forming here, and it's also lumbar vertebra. If you've got cold feet, this is excellent for warming them.
Ah, excellent.
And it balances your intestinal functions. But cold feet is usually attributed to poor circulation. Mm-hmm. So as we know, only too well, sometimes. Now 43, let's work this out. 43 is on the top of the nose, but it's actually there. So you've got your nostril at the end, and you've got just literally come up slightly, and that is the next point.
Okay.
This is teeth. This is related if you've got any problems with your teeth, if you've got pains in the teeth, if you have anything that's related, because you've already done the antibiotic point and the anti-inflammatory point previously. So if you've got any problems with your teeth, like painful teeth, you've got abscesses and all sorts of things, this is excellent for marrying up 1 or 2 points.
Okay.
And it relates to your coccyx and, as I said, everything in the lower region of your body, because this is the lower part. In facial reflexology, this is your spine.
Okay.
And then what we do is, the next one is, now the next one is either side. The first one this side.
Okay.
And this is related to ears.
Okay.
Any problems like, as I said before, itching of the ears, any inflammation in there, if you've got any infections, anything, this is an excellent area to start working with to clear the ears out.
Okay.
And the ears are related to the kidneys, because obviously that's your function of hearing properly. And if you're not hearing sufficiently and it's blocked, you can guarantee you can trace it back to your kidneys or the bladder meridian.
And it'll help clear your sinuses as well while it's at it.
Yeah, it really clears them out big time. I tell you, I did this for a client the other day, or a few weeks ago, and they went, crikey, my actual sinuses are freeing. I went, oh, well, that wasn't the object, but obviously that's a bonus. Now the next one, it's going to be on the hairline.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the hairline, but just slightly down from the hairline.
Okay. Yeah.
This one I've recently been working with a lot, and a friend of mine gave me information about this one. She's been working with this with her back problems. I think I mentioned this before on the back problem itself.
Yeah.
And this has freed her back up tremendously.
Okay.
Doesn't have so much back pain anymore. She hasn't got any twinges or trapped nerves.
Yeah.
And she's found it just by, because she does facial reflexology the same as I do. And because she's been in several nasty accidents in the previous years, it's had a knock-on effect with her back.
Yeah.
And although she's been back free-ish from pain for many years, all of a sudden it started to kick in when she was doing her healing work.
Yeah.
So she went on to this point, intuitively was told to go on this particular point. And all of a sudden, I'm not joking, the energy shot up from her root chakra all the way up to her throat and came out of her mouth as an energy. So she was swearing. She's swearing. And she said, I don't swear. I went, I know. But I was letting it out. It had to come out.
Yeah.
And then what you do is 0. And the other thing I will say, and Maria's following suit, because obviously intuitively was guided to drink water. These particular points, like all the other points of facial reflexology, you have to make sure that you are well topped up with hydration.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you drink plenty of water. Now, you don't drink cold water, because that means to say your body, your stomach is then saying, oh my goodness me, you're throwing that down your gullet, seriously? Because what happens is it has to then send all the energy from the major organs and to warm up the cold water before it actually comes into your body. So you're depleting straight away vital life force to all the important organs in your body. So you're then in deficit.
Okay.
So like anything, if you're in deficit, what happens? You then have to make sure that you top it up sufficiently enough. So I always make sure my water is the same as body temperature. It doesn't matter what temperature is outside, it can be boiling hot. You always make sure it's body temperature, not cold and not hot either. And you've got to make sure you do top your hydration up as much as possible. You can have herbal teas as well, which I do. But I don't have very much anything. I don't have I don't have to drink alcohol. I haven't done that for 30 odd years. I cannot do that because I work with crystals, and I'm not able to do that the way I work. If I drink any alcohol, I'll be drunk on probably 2 sips of it, so it's not worth it. And also, I don't drink any fizzy drinks because I cannot do that. And I know what happens to people when they do drink it, so I avoid it. And I have done for many years as well. So your best bet is to drink as much body temperature water as possible. Preferably, I'd say bottled water, but you have to have it in glass rather than plastic. Or you can make your own waters up, and you can take it from the tap, but you can actually bless it with love and gratitude. And you put ready crystals, for instance. Do not put crystals in the water, by the way, although there are lots of people out there that say you can. You have to be very, very careful which crystals you use. I have an anticorana, which I put my crystals on. And it generates and takes out all the badness from the water in 9 minutes. It's that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I then grid my crystals all the way around my anticorana, so my water is always being generated with pure energy of the crystals. So that is my what I do. What everybody else does, I have no idea, but this is what I do, and I make sure that I'm topped up regularly every day. So with working with the kidney meridian, you have to make sure you do that, because if you're flushing out and detoxifying your body, you then have to make sure that you replace it.
Yeah.
So that's my thought anyway. That's what I've been doing for many a year now.
So do we finish again with the calm? Yeah, the calming. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Marie can go through the tapping. You're going to do the tapping on the kidney.
Yeah, probably on fear.
Yeah. Good idea. Especially at the moment with what's happening in the UK. I think lots of people need to do this. I haven't, funnily enough, I haven't been following all of it, but a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, after Saturday and my experience, I think I've sort of sidestepped all of that, and realised that I don't conform to the fear. I let fear disappear.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot one point. One of my favourite ones, actually. Yeah.
The body knows, and it will do it for you sometimes.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was talking to someone this morning about all this, what's going on. It's ending a loop. It's ending a cycle, that many thousands of years cycle. And of course, when you end something, people who used to not wishing to have change, having a bit of a problem understanding it's not going to happen again, it's stopping, the cycle has come to an end, and you have to let the cycle go.
Yeah.
And they're having a lot of protests going on because they don't want it to end. And of course, the light is going to win anyway. So I don't quite know what they think is going to happen, but the light is already winning anyway.
Yeah.
Because it is.
It does. It's interesting because I think the measures you had from a COVID point of view were more liberal in, you know, than what we had here. But yet behind it all, there is that whole thing of, you know, giving, you know, kill the bill thing. You know, that whole thing about giving police powers, that you can't protest and things like that. And it's interesting from a country's evolutionary point of view that that's something that's coming up to be looked at, because, you know, it's an old pattern of because what came to me is because you spread out all over the world, that what you have control of now to a certain extent is the people. So you know, in what's happening in inflicting these rules on the people is allowing them to choose what it is, the type of country that they want to live in. So it's really interesting from a country's evolutionary point of view. I mean, we're going through our own thing here, because fear would be very much part of, you know, fear, as anybody knows, is a great controlling factor. So it is, and it is a great way for controlling people. The more fearful they are, the less they question. So they do. So when you take yourself out of fear, then, you know, what you do is you learn to see a bigger picture. You learn to question the narrative, and because it's really, really interesting. Like in a world where we can pretty much, you know, that you can impact the world, how the layers of the old layers of the old order are coming up to be looked at, and for us as humanity to choose the type of country we want to live in, but most of all to choose the type of person we want to be first. And everything that comes up is teaching us a little bit more about ourselves. What works, what doesn't work, what works now may not work again, what doesn't work, you know. So it's definitely doing the whole dance of what comes up. But learning to take yourself out of fear is a great way of giving you a sense of perspective. And obviously, because your body isn't been flooded with adrenaline, you know, you can actually think calmly, you can be more insightful, you can use intuition and understanding, and be able to investigate further, you know, the narrative that we're being told. So it's really, really interesting time. Uncomfortable. And do you know what I've discovered as well, Felicia, that if we're not directly affected by what's happening, you know, the narrative that's happening in our countries, but we have our own triggers that we have to deal with. You know, so it doesn't matter. We're all dealing with something, and it's all about that, in what it is that we're learning to overcome, that we can tell and empower others, so that they can use, you know, so that they can actually use tools and techniques that we found that we were used. So let's go and do the tapping thing, and it will be on fear. So even though I would have felt this fear in my body.
Feel the effects of fear in my body.
I deeply and completely love and respect myself.
Deeply and completely love and respect myself.
Yes. This feeling of fear.
This feeling of fear.
Picking up on the world.
Picking up on the world.
And the collective fear that's out there.
The collective fear that's out there.
But it's coming up for a reason.
It's coming up for a reason.
And it's time.
It's time.
It's time to face this fear.
It's time to face this fear.
This fear that we hold within our bodies.
This fear we hold in our bodies.
This fear that's familiar to us.
This fear that's familiar to us.
This fear that we have learned to live with.
This fear we've learned to live with.
It's coming up to be looked at now.
Coming up to be looked at now.
Because it's time.
Because it's time.
It's time for us to release that fear.
And to release all that feeling.
This fear that we hold within our bodies.
This fear we hold in our bodies.
This fear that stops us speaking.
The fear that stops us from speaking.
This fear that can paralyze us.
This fear that can paralyze us.
This fear that we hold that's familiar within our bodies.
We hold that's maybe familiar in our bodies.
And we've had it for many generations.
And we've had it for many generations.
This fear we hold within our bodies.
This fear we hold in our bodies.
Coming up to be released.
Coming up to be released.
And what a great time for this fear to be recognized.
And what a great time for this fear to be recognized.
Because when we do that, we see the bigger picture.
We see the bigger picture.
In letting go of the fear,
In letting go of the fear,
we're learning to trust our intuition.
we're learning to trust our intuition.
We're replacing the fear within our bodies.
We're replacing the fear in our bodies.
With anticipation.
With anticipation.
With excitement.
Excitement.
We are regenerating.
We are regenerating.
We are the regenerating generation.
We are the regenerating generation.
And how exciting is that?
How exciting is that?
And what if we allowed ourselves to feel that excitement?
And what if we allowed ourselves to feel like that?
What fun that would be.
What fun that will be.
How exciting would that make our lives?
How exciting that will make our lives.
That's synchronicities that allows the magic to happen.
That synchronicity allows the magic to happen.
We know that we are truly blessed.
We know that we are truly blessed.
The universe looks upon us.
The universe looks upon us.
And blesses us daily.
Blesses us daily.
Sending us people.
Sending us people.
That uplift us.
Uplift us.
Opportunities.
Opportunities.
That empower us.
That empower us.
That amazing energy. That enlightens us.
Lightens us.
How exciting is it to be alive today?
Exciting is it to be like today?
We are embracing the excitement.
Nice excitement.
We are allowing our body to feel it.
Body to feel it.
We are allowing our bodies to enjoy that feeling.
Allowing our bodies to enjoy that feeling.
We're allowing our bodies to feel that sense of excitement.
Bodies to feel that excitement in our body.
We are in such a time of enlightenment.
Such a time of enlightenment.
And we are here to amplify that beautiful energy.
Amplify that beautiful energy.
We're here to be beacons of light.
We're here to be beacons of light.
We're here to share our wisdom and understanding.
Understanding.
We are here to make a difference in the world.
Difference to the world.
And we do that in body, mind, and spirit. And a deep breath in. Oh, that was gorgeous. Ooh,
wow.
Definitely can feel the energy in that.
I was feeling goosebumps all over.
Me too.
I was sort of going, as it was clearing out. Yes. It was reminding me of it was reminding me a couple of the other sequences I've been doing, which are similar. And it was just amazing. It just sort of was, I just felt as though it was the icing on the cake, although I don't do icing, but it was the icing on the cake, really, of flushing stuff out, getting rid of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens, because I'm luckily tomorrow I'm doing something else tomorrow, so it'd be lovely to see what happens tomorrow after the after effects from this.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, that when we do work like this, because we're working with energy that you've held in your body maybe for a lifetime and even older, you know, this is ancestral and DNA stuff, that if you do feel, you know, we think we should be, yay, you know, full of the joys, but in fact, your body can do a cleansing and a clearing. And that's, all of these things are actually quite normal and quite natural. And just as Felicia was saying, just make sure you're drinking your water, minding yourself. If you've got a fire and you've got an opportunity, sit beside the fire, write whatever it is you have to write, watch trashy Christmas movies, whatever it is that you find that nurtures you, go for it, because it's a great time to be doing that. And with the energy that we're letting go of, we're allowing you to come in so that we can create, we can be part of the creation of the world that we want to, you know, that we want to live in. We are the vanguards. You know, we choose this time to come in so that we can learn from our experiences. And that's why we tend to be that little bit older when we're talking about things like this. And it's because we have that lifetime of experience behind us of what it is. And we're still learning. And that's the beauty of it. You know, we're still learning, and we're still learning to listen to our intuition, listen to our guidance. And yeah, but when you look for the synchronicities and they just rack up, it's just like, yeah, this is amazing. So it is. We live in an amazing world where there's more magic and light than there is darkness.
There is now, because obviously things are changing quite dynamically, actually. And I've noticed a difference after the weekend. For me, I feel as though I've been plugged into my true self. And I've been waiting for this moment for many, many centuries. And it feels as though, I know of my age, I do know this, but I'm going to say something. I've now moved into the crone stage. So I'm the goddess, I'm the crone and the goddess. And I've all of a sudden found my voice. And I did most definitely found my voice today, because obviously through all the EFT tapping I've been doing, and also my facial reflexology, and I'm combining the two like we've done today. I went off to networking. Now, usually for networking, for me, I get very scared, very frightened, because I've got to stand in front of people. And it gets quite sort of, oh my God, I've got to speak about what I love to do. And because I do so many things, it's a case of, how can I cram it in 60 seconds?
You can't.
So today, I did, no. So I then, I got my guidance, and they said, you talk about one thing. And we will do the talking for you. You won't be doing the talking, Felicia. Just pay attention. Your guys will be speaking on your behalf, because we know your message that you're meant to be getting across. You won't do it because you're too scared to. We will. So I thought, okay, I'll just let go and surrender, because it's so much easier. But I stood up for my 60 seconds, and I got an applause.
Wow.
Because I was actually, everyone said how magnificent my 60 seconds was. And I was talking about my experience at the weekend, clearing out my root chakra and my sacral and my solar plexus. And they were so enthralled by it. They said, are you going to teach this? I said, I'm going to be teaching it as of next year, because obviously there's going to be loads of spiritual people who are
Yeah.
requiring this because they have to let go of the materialistic side, which
Yeah.
some of them are not prepared to surrender that, because they still think they can carry it forwards. But you can't, because it's not possible.
And you're absolutely right. Yeah, and that's something, you know, because I spoke to you about a course that I was part of that, you know, that I had signed up for 6 months, and after 3 months, I just felt, okay, you know, this isn't working for me anymore. And the part of it is the letting go of that materialistic, because they're continuing with the contract, so they're going to be continuing to take out the money. But for me, it was the fact of being more in alignment, that the money wasn't making me stay. And as a lesson, it was hugely powerful. So it was, and funnily enough, when it was made, it's like you get into that sense of, there's like a knowing, but the knowing has like a warmth to it, that, do you know what, it's just going to come back to you in other ways. You know, that the fact of actually letting go, that money isn't defining your actions, you know, that it can't, that in fact, you know, it's a blessing that it's going to be given to you, to use as you see, you know, for the work that you're doing, the reward that you're going to get, the reward that you're getting, you know. So it's a really interesting, and it's, so if it's happening to you and I, it's happening to an awful lot of women out there, you know, that this issue is actually coming up to be looked at. So it's really fascinating when you're going through it, and then when you talk about it, it's like, oh, I went through that, and I went through that. And I think that's the beauty of networking. And also, I think because of when we do come together, that whole thing of that we do, you know, that women that are empowered empower each other, and we don't see each other as competition, or that, you know, because everybody has their own unique energy that we bring to a situation, and yeah, it's just this great sense of excitement. And I think, you know, that's what I love about when we have conversations like this. You know, there's magic. You know,
it is.
Yeah, because I was lucky. You know, I'm finishing up on the local radio here, and the last show I did, I actually did it myself in my own business. I got a friend in to come in and interview me, so we swapped. And within a few days, then I got a call to come on, and because my thing is like shake up to wake up, but specifically separation and divorce. And with Christmas coming up, I was then invited onto another show just to talk about, you know, as what it is that we can do for Christmas to make it the best, you know, that we can, to embrace the magic, and let go of the rest, you know, because, yeah, wow, so powerful times. It's exciting.
No, I must say, obviously the weekend, my down the rabbit hole effect, which was it was quite empowering actually, when I'd actually finally come out of the rabbit hole, I must say. And then I went off to do my toddling, and when I learned to do, oh, thank God I'm rich, it was in my head the continuous time. When I went to my networking today, I was asked to take my crystals with me. Now, usually it's just sort of dribs and drabs. People come in and go, yeah, I'll have that, which is great. I then had an image given to me as a particular, I wouldn't say a number that was given to me, of that energy of money. And I'm thinking, whoa, that's interesting. And I thought, well, I won't do money. We won't have the energy of money. We'll have the energy of abundance.
Yeah.
So I said, I'd love to have this abundance, please, Judy. So I wrote the number down. I said, this is a blessing in disguise. Thank you very much. And I'm truly grateful. So I wrote a small story about this particular gratification, that I was going to this networking this morning. I'm thinking, right, this is what's going to happen. 7:30 this morning, I was making sweet potato brownies. And I'm thinking, can you remind me why I'm doing this, please? Because obviously I've got to leave at 9. And they said, you'll be fine, don't worry about it. I actually did. I did actually succeed to doing them. Hence why I've got them. Hence why I'm wearing, and obviously brought some home. When I got there, I laid the crystals out, and I actually surrendered everything. I said to the universe, I surrender, I let go, release. Whatever happens, thank God I'm rich. And as soon as I said that, all of a sudden I had 4 people at the table saying to me, I like that, and I'm going to get that, and that. And my eyes were just going, what? They put that aside. Someone else came along and went, I want that, and put that aside. I'm going, oh, thank God I'm rich. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then this was before the networking started. So when we finished the networking, I had loads of other people come up, and they said, another lady came up to me and said to me, actually, can I come and see you privately and make an appointment to come and see you to buy crystals from you? And I'm going, oh, I've died and gone to heaven. What is going on? And it was such a blessing. All of a sudden, this woman's coming up from London to buy my crystals in the new year to make her jewellery to sell on to her commissions. And I'm thinking, because she can't get the crystals I have, she can't get any more. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm blessed. This is a blessing. Thank you. And she said, I can put you in touch with loads of other people in London who cannot get your crystals. They've been getting them up until recently, but they can't not able to get them anymore. But how come you've got them? Because your crystals are high vibrational. And where you go to shops or anything, they don't have that sort of energy. What do you do with your crystals? And I said, well, I love them. I talk to them, friends, and I bless them, and I say thank you. I'm grateful for them being around. But I do know they have to go into pastures new. And they said to me, well, it works because obviously I pick up your crystals. I don't know you. I've never seen you before. I picked up your crystal and it's alive. And I'm thinking, well, it's alive energy. And they said, we're just completely blown away. So I sold exactly the amount that the universe gave me this morning.
Yeah. Amazing.
So I then
said,
I just said, thank you very much, universe. I'm truly blessed and grateful, and may this continue. Thank God I'm rich.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank God I'm rich. And on that note, we will say, thank God we're rich. Great affirmation to use for the next week, particularly coming up to Christmas. We're going to be back on again next Thursday, and we're going to be doing eyes. That'll be our last session before Christmas time, but come back after Christmas because Felicia and I are actually going to do the chakras. So we are. We're going to use the energy of them. We're going to be clearing them. We're going to be empowering them. We're going to be tuning into them. We're going to be guided by them. We're going to be tapping into them. We're going to be doing all of these things, and we're going to go through the whole chakra, and we'll start that in the new year. So either between Christmas and the New Year, but probably after New Year's Day, I would say, because of the energy of 22. That's next year's empowerment. So it is. And I think because that's something that will definitely be worth holding on to, because there'll be a whole sequence that will be involved. And I think because a lot of the stuff we will be doing will be, I would say that I can sort of, the guidance is, excuse me, number one is going to be clearing our voices so that we can speak from the source, and also the sequences involved are going to be really, really important. So I'd say outside of the talking, we'll probably be editing down to the actual sequence themselves that's involved, so that people, you know, if they don't want to listen to our conversation, that they can just, you know, they can go to the important bits that they want to learn from. And we hope to do an awful lot more from that over the next year, namely because we just got on so well together and we have so much fun, and everything that we go through is reflective of other women out there, what they're going through.
True.
Yeah.
True. It's very true.
Bye, my darling.
Have a good afternoon.
Hug for me across the ocean. Bye, love.
Yeah, exactly. Bye.
Bye.